Hello and welcome to my playthrough of Asphyxia. It's a visual novel and I will be narrating the entire playthrough of my first time through. I hope you enjoy it. The artwork is very well done as well as the music, and I'll try to keep these episodes to about 10 minutes long. Thank you and enjoy episode 1.
How kind of you to finally grace us with your presence, Miss Coleridge. Samantha made a vague murmur of assent as she slunk onto the coach, head bowed, trying to avoid the eyes of her peers. How long had they been waiting for her anyway? Miss Pope's tone made it sound as though it had been hours upon hours, but Samantha knew that couldn't be right. Sure, she had woken up a little late, tried 20 minutes late, but she had dressed as quickly as she could, to the point where it had caused her genuine physical harm. It was all because of her socks. It was almost always because of her socks. The stupid things were a lethal hazard. Whilst teetering on her left foot, trying to pull one sock up over her right knee, Samantha had slipped and lost her balance, cracking her head against the side of her bed on the way to the floor. Stupid socks, they'd caused her injury more times than she could count. Why had she bothered to get out of bed at all? Being scolded by her least favorite teacher, all the while suffering from the after effects of blunt force trauma, was not the best way to start the day. It was a shame. She'd been looking forward to this trip for a while too, about as much as she'd been able to look forward to anything these days. Miss Coleridge, what are you dawdling for? Well, you have already wasted enough time, and we are on a tight schedule. I know you young girls enjoy being the center of attention, but don't you think you've made enough of a spectacle of yourself as it is? Yes, miss. I'm sorry. And again with the apologies. You always apologize, as if it means anything when you do it so often. I'm sorry. You're just proving my point. Samantha stared resolutely at the floor. She didn't want Miss Pope to know she was blushing. She didn't want to give her the satisfaction. It was strange just how much hatred Miss Pope was capable of exuding, particularly given she was so small. How could a person so tiny, almost elfin in their appearance, possess so much contempt towards their fellow man? But maybe that was the reason why Miss Pope was so perpetually grumpy. Samantha had suspected for a while now that her teacher had a chip on her shoulder, but her childish appearance, a chip so large as nearing the size of the Amazon rainforest. Samantha had never asked because she knew doing so would be tantamount to suicide, but she's got the feeling Miss Pope had been bullied a lot as a child. I will try not to be late anymore. Rather, I have been trying. Clearly, you have not been trying hard enough. Trying is not particularly useful if it does not yield any results. Yes, Miss Pope sighed. I do not say these things for fun, you know. Lecturing you on the same things day after day gets incredibly tedious. I have no desire to stand around berating a girl who has no capacity or capability of changing. Yes, miss. Now hurry up and take your seats. Yes, miss. I'm sorry. And I really do wish you would stop apologizing so much. Yes, miss. And with that, her voice barely having a whisper, Samantha brushed past Miss Pope to search for her seat. She could feel the eyes of her classmates boring into her back as she wandered down the coach. They were all talking amongst themselves, their voices mingled together like twittering starlings. Samantha was sure they were laughing at her. They always did. Granted, she did give them a lot of material to laugh at, so she did not exactly fault them for it, but being the constant butt of everyone's jokes did become rather tedious. Although Samantha usually took other people's jokes in good faith, she wasn't really in the mood for it. Not today, not in front of her. Lily. The blonde girl, a few months Samantha's senior, was sitting at the front of the coach with her hair tied up as per usual. Unlike Samantha's, Lily's uniform was never crumpled, creased or wrinkled, and she always remembered to do up the top button of her blouse. Lillian's legs were demurely crossed, her tights devoid of any holes or ladders, her hands, fingernails cut carefully, 10 perfect little crescent moons resting on her knees. Lillian turned her head, blonde hair shifting over one shoulder and floating. A few brief moments looked at Samantha flushed. Her cheeks turned a deep red and she turned away. She hadn't been staring, had she? She hoped she hadn't been staring. When it came to Lillian, Samantha always stared. She couldn't help it. There was no denying it, even though she often tried to. Lillian really was beautiful. Though Samantha didn't want to look at Lillian, didn't even want to acknowledge her presence, she couldn't help herself. Whenever Lillian was in Samantha's vicinity, Samantha's eyes sought her out without her brain's consent, even though the end result was inevitable. The brief moment where their gazes crossed, the blushing and stammering, the embarrassed look away. Miss Coleridge, I will not ask you again. Would you please find your seat, or were you hoping to keep us waiting until next Christmas? Samantha jumped. Miss Pope's voice was cold, and it made the hairs on the back of her neck stand on end. No, miss, I'm sorry. Head hanging, feet shuffling, she continued onwards, feeling much like a criminal being led to the gallows. Honestly, Miss Pope sighed, running one hand through her hair. I don't even teach geography. Why had I had to give up my precious weekend to supervise this trip is beyond. Maybe this is some kind of divine punishment. For once, Samantha agreed wholeheartedly with their sour-faced English teacher. Having Miss Pope act as a supervisor for this geography field trip really was a punishment. Not even Dante could have conceived of it. Hey, Sam. Over here. Samantha found herself being waved over by her close friend, Roberta. The seat next to her was empty. She must have been saving it for her, even though Samantha had arrived almost half an hour late. Saving her a seat for so long showed dedication. Or maybe it showed that after 6 years of friendship, Roberta knew Samantha well enough to realize she was almost always late for everything. Either way, Samantha was touched. Thank you, Bobby. I appreciate it. It's no problem. Roberta surveyed her friend, a small frown on her face. Did you have a rough night? You can tell. The bags under your eyes look awful. Are they really that obvious? They really are. You'd have to be blind not to spot them. Thanks. And I tried so hard to hide them, too. Listen. I guess I did a pretty lousy job. Samantha had never been very good at makeup, which was why she rarely bothered. She often wondered if her lack of makeup was her mother's fault. Wasn't it the job of the mother to teach their daughter all the tricks in the trade when it came to lipstick, eyeliner, and eyeshadow? But Samantha's mother never had the time. She was too busy, much too busy to spend time with her daughter. Do you want to borrow any of my makeup? No, it's alright. I think it's too early in the morning for that. Samantha couldn't apply eyeliner worth a damn standing before a full-length mirror, so the prospect of her being able to do so successfully on a moving bus with only Roberta's hand held compact for reference was laughable. Oh well, suit yourself. You can tell me if you change your mind, though. By the way, you cut your hair last night, didn't you? Oh, yes I did. Samantha fingered a lock of her really short hair, twisting it over one finger. Maybe this had been a mistake. Although her hair was not short, just past her shoulders, it was still too short for comfort, and she couldn't hide behind it as successfully as once she'd be able to. It left her feeling unpleasantly exposed, which only amplified her feeling of her fellow classmates' demeanors of stairs. Samantha had never intended to cut her hair this short. She hadn't intended to cut it at all, not until yesterday. Looking back on it, she hadn't really been in her right mind. Maybe she should have slept on it. Do you think it looks nice? It's different, I'll say that much. I take it that's a no, then. It's not a no exactly, it's just... Roberta hemmed and hawed, judiciously coiling a strand of her own hair around one finger. It looks funny. The ends are all different lengths, so it really does look bad. Well, it's alright. You don't need to try and spare my feelings. Even if you don't tell me it looks bad, I'm sure everybody else will point at it at some point. I'd rather hear it from a friend first. It wouldn't look so bad if you had the ends straightened out, I suppose. At the moment, I'm just struggling to understand why. Why what?